Hi, Ash.
Hey, Taryne.
Do you want to know this like intrusive thought that
Ooh.
has been going in my head today?
Good one or a bad one?
Just a random one.
Okay.
What defines an intrusive thought? Isn't it just something that's
Intrusive thought is something that you can't help but thinking.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it
Okay.
just keeps coming back.
Yeah. Okay. So this qualifies. So today I was like watching TikTok, scrolling through TikTok, and this video of this like beautiful like scenery, and like this deer comes like walking out, and it's just, and I was looking at it and I was like, how
So
beautiful, like this precious animal. And then I had this thought and I was like, so do like men who like to hunt, or women too, whoever likes to hunt, like, do they just see that video and are like, dang, I wish I had my bow so I could like kill it?
I know my brother would say that.
What? Today's episode is brought to you by Simply Safe. The average break-in lasts 8 to 10 minutes, so fast response is crucial. That's why Simply Safe Home Security launched its breakthrough technology, 24/7 live guard protection to help stop crime in real time. Now, Simply Safe professional monitoring agents can actually see, speak to, and deter intruders in your home through the new Smart Alarm wireless indoor camera.
As someone who lives alone, I constantly worry about people breaking in, and Simply Safe has been such a godsend. Simply Safe, if you do not know, has professional monitoring agents that can now warn intruders that they are being recorded, and police are on their way in real time, literally stopping them in their tracks. They have 24/7 live guard protection, which is made possible by the new Smart Alarm wireless indoor camera, available with the Fast Protect monitoring plan.
Right now, Unsolicited Advice listeners get a special 20% off any Simply Safe system when you sign up for a free month trial of Fast Protect monitoring. This special offer is for a limited time only. Visit simplysafe.com/advice. That's simplysafe.com/advice. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Today's episode is brought to you by Jenny Kane. We all know summer is here, and my wardrobe could definitely use a refresh. Jenny Kane is a California brand through and through, and their summer staples make getting dressed easier than it's ever been before. Think minimalist and effortless, but totally refined. From flowy dresses and lightweight cotton cardigans to elevated versions of everyday basics. Not to mention the most incredible home essentials too. Jenny Kane is here to help you live your best summer yet.
In any season, but this one especially, their dresses are the it item. I'm obsessed with the Cove dress and road dress for summer occasions, and their new day dress is quickly becoming my go-to everyday uniform. Jenny Kane believes in the art of simplicity. They focus on comfort, quality, and timeless design so you can curate a wardrobe that never goes out of style. And they also have a stunning collection of home essentials, timeless furniture pieces, cozy throws, perfectly curated decor, and the most incredible candles. You should definitely grab one and keep them in every room.
Find your forever pieces at jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code ADVICE at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at jennykayne.com, promo code ADVICE. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about. Why do they want to kill them? Like, I get being into hobbies. That's one, like, I don't quite understand. Like, why don't we just invent crazier, like, target ranges, or, like, have, like, moving things that you can hunt in the wood? Like, why do you have to kill the animal and then, like, show its body? I just, like, I don't quite understand. I'm not hating on it. I just don't understand that when you see a beautiful deer, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to shoot it through the heart.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I think if we're gonna unpack this, I think all of us are very desensitized to the death that happens in order for us to stay alive. Like, if you think about every hamburger you've had, every like taco you've had in the last
For sure.
They're originally, someone had to have that instinct, like I'm talking back in our like cave days, like as a human race, like back in the day, someone had to have that instinct in order to keep you alive, to get you food. So maybe that's just like a leftover, you know.
I feel like, but that's like need versus like, which I know they like eat their kills. Kills. But it's the like, I'm going to get my buddies, crack a couple beers.
Yeah.
Go hunt.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a hunter either. I have no desire to do that.
I don't quite understand how they can look Bambi in the eyes.
But not Bambi. Oh, not Bambi.
And just freaking sever her carotid.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's hard.
That's my intrusive thought.
This is very intrusive.
If anybody wants to help me with that.
Way to start out the podcast strong. Poor Bambi.
Poor Bambi.
But we're not here to talk about Bambi. Just to clarify to any possible new listeners out there, we're here to advise you guys.
Yes.
Not to discuss the death of Bambi.
No. No.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. That's Taryne. Yes. I'm Ashley, and we are Unsolicited Advice, and we are here to go over your guys' lives and all your stories that you write in. How you been, Taryne?
I've been good. Today's a twofer.
Oh, yes, it is.
So this is our second episode we're recording of today because we're trying to like get back on track.
I'm more than halfway through my coffee, my afternoon coffee.
I am too, actually. Well, yeah. So yeah, just, you know, life is good. I went. Oh, I know what I want to talk about.
Okay.
So you know how like I know women do this a lot.
Okay.
I can't speak on men because I don't know if they're like this. I am a like sign person.
Okay.
But I'm very manipulative in the way I interpret signs.
When you say signs, are we talking astrological?
No.
What are you
I'm
saying?
talking about, that was a sign. I should be with him.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yes.
So I have like a perfect example.
Okay.
I was very aware. I was like, you have a problem after this. Okay. So I know there's no way he listens to this podcast because I really don't think he like thinks of me ever. But I have a soulmate. You know.
Do I?
You know. Michaela, please bleep this.
Oh, yes.
My soul. Guys, he is my soulmate. He just doesn't know it yet.
Someone needs to tell him.
And it's not possible. Anyways, he lives in a different country. Okay. The whole time I have been just living life, doing things, being here, right? I get on a plane and go to Hawaii for just 10 days out of the year, just 10 days. And lo and behold, he happens to travel into LA.
Wow.
During that time and leave before I get back, right? Anyone else would be like, this is a sign. I just don't think you guys are meant to be. Like, God is keeping you separate because he knows you're only going to fall more in love, whatever. How did I interpret it? Well, let me tell you. I was like, scrolling. I changed my locations to be in Hawaii because I love Polynesian men. And so I'm like scrolling and swiping. And then as I'm doing that, I'm like getting all discouraged because I'm like, I just want a lover. And then I go on and I see he has landed in LA. So I decide to say, that is my sign.
To change my location to LA.
He'll like, my person's going to come to me when they're meant to be. And I needed to be over here to like realize that, blah, blah. I had this whole story in my head, making it make sense.
Yes.
But then I was like, I don't think that's the case. And I think you need to stop only interpreting the universe's signs in your favor.
For sure. Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm talking about that, but that was when you asked what's new.
That's what's new.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
I've realized I have a problem.
Of taking the life signs that you've been given and manipulating them in your favor.
I am a very great optimist. You can tell me any situation and I'll find silver lining, positive spin on it.
Yeah.
But it's crossed into like reality and non-reality.
I'm sure
and
you're
that's
not
fine.
alone on that. I'm sure
It's
a
fine.
lot of listeners are going, ooh,
Yeah.
I do that too. Because I know we all do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P.
I'm so sorry.
My love. I know. He's always going to be the one that I'm
She
like,
texted
what
me.
idiot?
She was in Hawaii and she texted me that he was in LA. And I was like, well, damn.
No, literally. I was like, this cannot be happening.
How?
And as I'm like boarding the plane to come back,
Yeah.
he posted a story that he was like on the plane to go
Headed
back. And I was just like, you know what? Why?
It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
It
fine.
wasn't meant
fine.
to be.
I hear you. I give up. Whatever. It's fine. How are you, Ash?
I'm so good. I did something fun this weekend.
What'd you do?
I am learning how to drive stick.
Are you?
I am. My
That's very fitting. And I'm assuming Jackson's
Yes.
teaching you.
Yes. My boyfriend got his dream car. And
did?
He did. And he got it for a steal because it was a manual. And
Wait, did he get rid of his other car?
he still has it, but he wants to sell it.
Okay.
But he got his car that he's always wanted. It's this Bronco. I forget the type, but he got the Bronco that he wanted. He got the color that he wanted, and it was extremely discounted because it was a manual, but it's like a newer Bronco. And I was like, okay, cool. So you'll just be driving like everywhere we go, and if we're going on road trips, I don't have to drive. And he was like, or you could learn how to drive stick. And I was like, or I don't.
This was a choice you made.
Yeah, not
Don't
me.
put it on me.
But then I was also like, okay, well, that sounds like fun. So we went to an empty mall parking lot, and he taught me how to drive stick.
How did it go?
I only stalled it, I think, like 3 times.
Oh,
But
that's
it
good.
is because it's a newer car. I guess like a lot of people that off-road like manuals because you can kind of manipulate the car more to do exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So this newer manual car, because I've only the one I learned how to drive on when I was like 16 and my mom was teaching me was super old, like really old. I guess the newer manuals have this like no stall clutch system. So if you let go of the clutch, the car will automatically start moving forward slowly,
Okay.
causing you making it less likely for you to stall, essentially. So it went a lot smoother than I thought. It was still nerve-wracking, and anytime a car drove by, I like panicked
Tensed
a little
up,
bit and
yeah.
just be like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. But it was so much fun. I actually did okay. And I also felt like it was a very big green flag for my boyfriend because I got to see him like be very patient.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you handled that very well. Like,
Yeah.
that was really great. So anyways, it was really fun. I don't know that I actually want to drive on the freeway with
Oh yeah, that's
a
a
manual
whole other
because that sounds
beast.
really scary.
Yeah.
But it's also like, oh, it's good to know that I can figure it out.
Could.
Could figure it out. Am I? I might not, just so
But
he can drive me everywhere.
what if you're in the wilderness and something happens to him and you need to drive to get home?
It's
You
true.
know.
Yeah. So we're learning things, and it's
I love that
not.
for
It's
you.
never too late to learn something new.
No.
So
Can't
will
teach
I
an
ever
old
need this? I don't know.
Oh wait, no, that's the opposite of the point. Never mind. Sorry. I'm gonna take that back. I've only tried to drive stick once with my uncle, and he just like full blown pushed me into like the street and told me to go.
Oof.
And it was bad. Well, you've seen. I'm not used to being like terrible at things. Like I can like try something new and be pretty like at least mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen with snowboarding how I get.
I've never seen someone
I don't do
shut
well.
down and storm off the mountain so viciously.
I don't do well. I blame my family because we're all just like with like that
The most
athletic, competitive mentality.
It's not even athletic. Let's not categorize it. It's a board game. It's a freaking who got the last cupcake. It is so stupidly overblown. Yep. I digress.
Yeah. Lots of fights, lots of, ridiculousness. But yeah, I didn't do well. And then because I didn't do well, I was like pissed. And then I have never
There was
wanted
no
to try
speaking
again.
to her.
No. Nope.
I literally came up and tried to say something sweet, like, you're doing so good. And she was like, don't talk to me.
I was like, I'm so sorry, Ash, but don't. Like, you're gonna want to leave me at this moment.
I don't want to talk about it.
I will say though, usually I shake out of that. Like, I don't use like every time I lose, I'm like pouting. It's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's when that frustration rises to where like there's nothing I can do and I'm like so in my head that I snap. And that's only happened like a few times. I am a very like gracious loser, but yeah, my competitiveness has a fall, and I'm definitely like the loud one yelling in games and stuff. So I hope my future partner sees that as like,
let's hope that's a cute
hot
thing.
and not like scary. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways,
Hey guys. If you're not following us on socials, stop what you're doing and follow us on socials, because we've been putting a lot of time and effort into our socials. That's Instagram and TikTok specifically. Also, if you listen to us and like listening to us on the podcast and don't watch us on YouTube, guess what? You can actually watch us on YouTube, so you can see you can see what we're doing with our hands right now. This is only for the YouTube followers.
I'm holding up a number, and only you know YouTube.
So you can follow us and watch us on YouTube. Also, we are a mere month and a half away from our favorite, mine and Taryne's, and also your guys' favorite series, which is our October series. This is the spooky season when you guys only send in scary stories, and Taryne and I live for it and thrive.
I really thought like I was going to complete your sentence. But
no, it was great. So essentially what Taryne and I would like to say is please send in your stories now. And there's a rule, Taryne. What should they do with your scary stories when you write them in?
Oh, put in the title of the email October series.
Yes.
And
make
the title.
It very clear so that we can separate it and put it in our October series file.
Yes. Also, we try to do for tearing it up for October series. We try to do like times where like you were scared, but it ended up being something like whatever, like
a funny trick-or-treating story.
Yeah, like I was convinced there was a murder outside my door, but it was actually like a dog scratching at my, like that kind of thing.
Little brother pranked you and it was actually really good and it scared the crap out of you, but it wasn't serious.
Fully.
Stuff like that. We want all of it. The funny, the serious, and then with the stories, please go into all the details because
this is your time to be a screenwriter. We want to read the ones
that are like an actual movie. So take the time to write in the details. We want twists and turns. We want jump scares. Do it.
Things. Oh my gosh. I literally, October series is, I feel like a lot of people are massive fans of October series. Like when I talk to people about the podcast, they're like, I love the podcast. It's so amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed with October series. So, yeah, we're really excited. And like I said a couple episodes ago, like we got some fun things coming to throw at you. So
I mean, the October series, it's the only reason I'm here.
Right?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, I said right, and then I was like, wait.
We love it so very much, and we love that you guys love it also. So yeah, get excited. Send in your stories. We obviously are going to have some October series merch coming around, so prepare yourself for that.
We got to start costume shopping for our promos,
we
too.
do. We also make really fun promos, which I'm sure most of you guys know, but for the noobs,
yeah,
it's a good time. Also, if you want to like prep for the October series, a fun thing I like to do, and I literally do this, I'm not telling you to do this because I don't do it, I literally do it, is I'll listen to past series leading up to the newest series just to kind of get me in a good headspace for it.
Yeah.
Just because it's, again, my absolute favorite time to have this podcast. So
actually, what would be fun, because I feel like sometimes we talk about October series and people will be like, oh my gosh, the one with this like scared me. We both have our one that like still is in our minds.
Oh my God. I was just talking about
this
the other day. Yes. I went to Laguna Beach with some friends. We had dinner. And I'm talking to my friend's husband, and he was talking about a scary story, and he had actually written one into the podcast last year.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh my God, I love that you do this on your podcast. How fun. And he was like, is there one that like got you? And I was like, well, yours was really scary. I was like, but also there was this one in the cornfield in Iowa that I still think about regularly. Like regularly. And he was like, oh my God, I have to hear it. I was like, I'll send it to you. I was like, I'm not exaggerating. I think about it constantly.
Yeah, no, it's, and mine is the girl in the keyhole. Whatever one. Oof. That one. I think because I didn't get it until I got it.
Yeah.
And when I got literally.
I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Like, it was such a good story. And I remember being like,
I don't get it.
I just remember being like, oh, that's spooky. And then like it hit a second later and it all came flooding down. And then I literally have full body chills.
No, I think I'm pretty sure that episode, I don't remember who brought the story. I think it was it me?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was me, but I remember I read it, but I didn't realize what it meant until
You were reading it
we
live.
were like on, and then
Yeah.
I like the dots connected.
Woo.
Anyways, so I think we should we should put something on our story that's like, what
Taryne's
was
favorite,
your
Ashley's favorite.
no, like ask them.
Oh, yeah.
What was your story that you still to this day like creeped you out? And then maybe we can release like a playlist of like, okay,
Yeah.
here's like the top audience picked October series, because like oodalali. Okay.
Oodalali. Yep.
Today's episode is brought to you by Simply Safe. The average break-in lasts 8 to 10 minutes, so fast response is crucial. That's why Simply Safe Home Security launched its breakthrough technology, 24/7 live guard protection to help stop crime in real time. Now, Simply Safe professional monitoring agents can actually see, speak to, and deter intruders in your home through the new Smart Alarm wireless indoor camera.
As someone who lives alone, I constantly worry about people breaking in, and Simply Safe has been such a godsend. Simply Safe, if you do not know, has professional monitoring agents that can now warn intruders that they are being recorded, and police are on their way in real time, literally stopping them in their tracks. They have 24/7 live guard protection, which is made possible by the new Smart Alarm wireless indoor camera, available with the Fast Protect monitoring plan. And the new Smart Alarm indoor camera is the only indoor security camera that can trigger the alarm and instantly deter intruders with a built-in siren. Hello, I need one of those. And with advanced motion detection and vision AI, the Smart Alarm indoor camera can sense the difference between potential intruders and pets to reduce false alarms. And with 24/7 live guard protection and the new Smart Alarm indoor camera work seamlessly as part of the entire Simply Safe security system to keep your whole home safe from break-ins, fires, flooding, and more.
Right now, Unsolicited Advice listeners get a special 20% off any Simply Safe system when you sign up for a free month trial of Fast Protect monitoring. This special offer is for a limited time only. Visit simplysafe.com/advice. That's simplysafe.com/advice. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Enough chit chat of the October series. It'll be coming soon enough. Let's get into today's Tearing It Up. Hey guys, I would like to stay anonymous, but you can know my name. It's please
Hello.
bleep that, Michaela. Say hello again.
Hello.
Before I get into my Tearing It Up story, I just wanted to thank you both for the impact that you've made in my life. I struggle with my self-esteem and self-worth, and listening to you both has helped me understand ways where I can shift my mentality and feel grateful and important.
I love that.
My husband tries his best to help me with my struggles, but I often feel like he can't really understand what I'm going through. So he's also very appreciative that I'm able to be given advice through a woman's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, that means
love
so
that.
much. Thank you so much. Anyways, let's get into the Tearing It Up story. My husband and I have been happily married for almost 4 years and have been planning on trying to become pregnant with our second child. So, ... A little over 12 weeks ago, I decided to spice things up in the bedroom. I decided to surprise my husband by wearing this black halter top lingerie number that I surprised him with for the previous Father's Day. However, last year's Father's Day was the last time that thing had seen the light of day. While my husband was in the bathroom, I began digging through the dresser for it. Once I found it, I slipped it on, but immediately began sneezing and sneezing and sneezing. My eyes became itchy, my nose became stuffy, and I turned red. I looked so puffy and sick. I looked terrible. I did not feel sexy at all of a sudden. And when I go to look in the mirror, I begin laughing at myself for deciding to put this dusty thing on my body in the first place. I tried to roll with it, but I just could not stop sneezing. I finally decided that this just wasn't going to work, so I put on my most attractive pajama set that I had. Soon after, my husband finally comes into the room and says, "Are you okay?" Go take an allergy pill. What's going on? It turns out I was very allergic to the lingerie set that I had chosen to put on and had to take medicine for it. If this makes this onto the pod, I will scream and I'll feel famous. So LOL, I am very grateful for both of your lives and love you and all that you do. And then she adds later, update. It worked. I am now 12 weeks pregnant with our second child.
Yeah.
And I attached a photo of my husband and I, as well as a picture of our 2.5-year-old sharing our big news. So there's a photo of the family and then the big news. It worked. At least it worked.
I'm dead. I know why Ashley was drawn to that because that's totally something that would happen to you. Like the allergy people get it.
Yes.
If you don't get it, you don't have allergies to the level we do.
It's so funny how sometimes it's the most random things that you are allergic to and you don't really know what's happening or what caused it. Maybe it was dusty. Maybe there was like animal fur on it or whatever. But like sometimes I can't piece it together, but I'm allergic to it and I don't know why.
And I think that's the thing because people will be like, why don't you just take an allergy pill every day? Or like, why don't you, why are you petting dogs if you're allergic? And I'm like, yeah, but you don't get it.
Yeah.
Like I can clean the entire house, be totally fine.
Yeah.
I can clean the entire house like a couple months later and 5 minutes into it, I'm like sneezing, I'm struggling. I can pet a dog and it can be all up in my face. And then I can like walk past the dog and I'll be like sneezing. Like you never know when it's gonna hit. So for me, I'm like, I don't want to take a pill every day when like I don't need it every day.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Oh, it's totally a thing. It's just so funny when it happens to be the lingerie that you're wearing.
Well, and like I probably when I'm in a bad allergy attack,
I'm done.
Oh, I can't do anything. I can't imagine trying to like act, feel, look sexy when I'm I'm like ice pack on my sinuses, like
hey daddy.
Aquaphor on my nose.
Trying to tell him that you're fine, but like he's like
Monica. Remember that episode?
Yeah.
She's like
sick.
She's trying to say something and she can't say like M. I don't know. It's so funny.
I forget what she said.
What is she trying?
I can't remember what it was, but she was like sick and trying to be sexy, and it was hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I'm dead.
I missed that show. I feel like I haven't watched it in a while.
I need to It's on HBO now.
It is. Okay. It's on Max.
Need to get on that. No, that was a great one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait just because of who I am and how I am. I feel like I'm gonna have some very funny like bedroom with my husband stories.
Oh, probably.
And I can't wait because I know like obviously I'll call you and be like, that's what happened. But I also share way too much personal detail about my life, so I can't.
You are an open book.
I am an open book. Yeah, my poor husband. Anyways, maybe that's why I haven't had one. God's like, I really got to make sure he's strong enough to deal with what's going to happen being attached to you.
It's so funny because one of my favorite stories of my parents when they first got married is they went to go hang out with some friends and they get in the car and my dad's like fuming. And my mom's like, that was so much fun. Like, did you have fun? And she looks over and he's so upset. She's like, whoa, what's wrong? And then his response, and my dad's like a very quiet, like reserved, isn't an open book kind of person where my mom is. And he just looks at her and is like, did you have to tell them everything about us? And she goes, totally I was just telling, like, I was just letting them get to know us. And he was like, no one needs to know that much. Like, no one. And I just remember that was like one of their biggest fights. And he was like, listen, if you want to open up about your life, that's fine. But don't to be telling everyone my life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can totally see that.
So funny. Yeah.
It's my future.
That is your future.
Okay, let's jump into our first story. This story is titled, Should I Keep in Touch?
Ooh.
What's your gut?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, remember that. Also, I'm not joking. My eye is having like an allergy reaction right now, which is I'm maybe having like sympathetic pains or whatever.
Could be.
Hi, loves.
Hey.
I don't see an anonymous request, so we'll go with it.
Perfect.
I'm Kylie. I'm 23 and an Enneagram 8.
Got it.
Which I'm very sorry if I I feel like I keep looking like a pirate, but my right eye is just struggling. So I'm not winking at you.
Or our YouTube audience.
You. Yeah. I'm a 2, and we're supposed to go to an 8 when we're unhealthy. But I have like a very weird fluid relationship with my 8. And I think that's because my second highest number was a 7. And if I was a 7, I would be a wing 8. So I have like this weird dynamic where I'm like very comfortable in my 8 space.
Yes. 8 is a challenger.
Challenger. I knew it was something with C, but I couldn't remember. They're the ones that are like super loyal, not afraid to tell you how they feel or what they think. Yeah. Anyways. Okay. I've been listening forever and finally found something I need advice on. Can't wait to see what y'all have to say. It's about my relationship with my older brother.
Ooh, interesting.
I assumed it was like a relationship, and I was like, no. But then I read brother, and I was like, oh.
Changes things.
Yeah. So when I was 9 years old, my family moved across the entire country from Washington State to Alabama. At the time, my brother was newly married with a 1-year-old daughter. So when my family left, he stayed behind with his own family to start their own life. That being said, we're clearly very far apart in age. It's an 11-year gap between us, which 11 is a lot. Me and my youngest brother, we have a 9-year gap. What's yours with your brother?
10.
Okay.
Me and him are 10.
So I feel like we'll understand that, the big age difference. Since we've moved, I've seen my brother maybe 3 times. 3 visits in the last 14 years. It's just really far and expensive, honestly. Work schedules get in the way, and my parents have recently split up, which has caused a lot of tension in the family. Over the years, I've found it really hard to keep in touch with him. I feel like now that I'm out of my parents' house, I hear from him even less. When we moved away, I was obviously a kid and wasn't responsible for phone calls to keep in touch. And him and his wife used to call and text me more often and send gifts for the holidays. That's faded. Haven't heard from them in months. The packages stopped being sent, and I noticed that they didn't even wish me a happy birthday this year. But now that I'm an adult, I guess, LOL, I feel like it's also my responsibility to keep in touch with them. The phone does work both ways. However, that's really hard to do for some reason. I honestly feel like I don't really know them. They're 11 years older than me. The culture in Washington and Alabama is pretty different. We have different interests, and sometimes it feels like a chore to have to keep them updated on what's going on in my life. I feel like I never got to know my niece because I was growing up while she was. And now she's 15, and I really don't know how to keep in touch with a teenager. It just feels like there's nothing holding us together anymore. I know they're family. I do love them and miss them. At this point, it's been so long since I've heard from them that I've started to wonder if they're mad at me or for not reaching out more often. It's just really hard. I never know what to say. It makes me sad, but at the same time, it feels like they're strangers to me. My brother left the house when I was still a kid. I feel like I never even knew him that well to begin with. So how do I keep in touch? Do I need to keep in touch as often now that we're grown? How do I mend this relationship that literally has so much distance between us? Thanks for this safe space, ladies. I love everything about this podcast. Your advice is always kind, encouraging, and therapeutic to a lot of people across the world, including me. Thanks so much. Love you. XOXO, Kylie. And then she did send an update.
Ooh.
She said, update, I texted my brother a happy birthday message saying I love and miss him always, and I hope that he enjoyed his day. That was 2 days ago, and he never responded. Where do I go from here? I'm trying so hard to not take this personally.
Oof, the update.
This is rough, man. Yeah.
I relate to that a lot. I think there is something to be said about the age gap. I remember with my brother feeling like he was just everything. Like every time I saw him, I like had to be with him. I would like attach myself to him. I thought he was so freaking cool. And he was just like this celebrity every time he came around to me. But also I was a kid.
Yeah.
So whenever he did call and did say hi, which was rarely, I was so excited.
Yeah.
And I just remember one day being like, Well, I never really hear from him, like, and I did take it personally. And then, one day, I think it was my mom, she was like, well, call him. And I was like, me call him? And she goes, well, isn't he the one that always calls you? And I was like, oh, like I had this whole moment where I was like, you're not a kid anymore. You can't, if something's bothering you, you should do something about it. So I remember reaching out more. And now that we're even older, we talk even less.
Yeah.
And I think, it is different when someone has an entire family and a whole other life that you're not a part of.
Yeah.
And I do think being younger, I think it might be the reason you're taking it as seriously. Should he have responded to the birthday text? Yes.
Yeah.
But like also maybe call him out for it. Like just be like, hello, your sister said happy birthday. You gonna just leave me out here in the cold? Like I wouldn't assume that it's out of malice or that he's ignoring you in any way. I would just assume he's a busy dad and has, a busy life and maybe had birthday things happen. And I don't know about you guys, but every birthday it's like 50 text messages you have to respond to.
Yeah.
And it is a lot. So I wouldn't hold that against him. I would just call him out for it and be like, hello, like you gonna say something, jokingly. And I bet he will. Mm-hmm. If for some reason he doesn't, then I would go ahead and be like, hey, are we good? Like what's happening here?
Yeah.
But it's just when there's a gap, an age gap, he's just in a different stage of life than you are. And I don't know. I don't think it's a personal thing always. But it can feel that way when you're little.
Absolutely. It's very interesting because I feel like your situation is very similar to hers in the fact that you are younger girls with the older brother and you guys lived in like different states growing up. Because for me, I'm the one that's older. But I was a girl and I was very like nurturing to him. Like my little brother became like, we always joke that like I raised him too. Like we were inseparable because I just loved like holding him and like, he would come sleep in my bed when he was scared of or had a nightmare. And like, he's one of my best, I live with him right now. Like we have an apartment together and he's one of my best friends. But I think that dynamic is very hard with an older guy because if you think about it, like a teenage boy is going to look at like a 2-year-old little girl and be like, I don't know what to do with that. Like they're not, they don't have that natural like nurturing, like I want to hold her. I want to like invest time in her. They're like, I just want to play sports. I want to do whatever. Not everybody, but that's usually how that is, you know? And, but also like I grew up with him. Like we were in each other's lives the whole time. Whereas if you literally live in different states and just have phone calls and like it's really hard to find that like common ground that you can like have momentum on. So I hope that Kylie, you hear how similar Ash is because I think that's like good to know. Now I think the difference is I feel like Ashley's in a place, and correct me if I'm like speaking wrong about this. I feel like you're at a place with your brother now where like you both are in the same mentality. So both of you aren't ever holding anything against each other. Like if he reaches out, you're like, hey, what's up? And if you reach out, he's like, hey, what's up? And like if you do decide to like do a trip, you spend time together, you have so much fun, but then you like go back to doing your separate lives. Like you're not each like offended if you don't hear from each other for a couple months, Yeah. But I think what's happening in this is I don't think there's been that communication of expectation. And so I think that every second that goes by, you're getting your feelings hurt and you're getting upset when in reality, he probably has no idea you feel that way. He's not even thinking about it because he's just used to the way things are. Yeah. So I think if you decide that you want a relationship with him, it sucks because you guys are family, but you're going to have to start from scratch. Like, you're going to have to form a relationship. You're going to have to get to know each other. Yeah. And that's going to require a sacrifice of taking a trip out and staying with him coming out to you, you reaching out and being like, hey, I really hate that, like, I feel like I don't know you. And I would love if, like, maybe once a month we can, like, FaceTime. I want to get to know your kids, like, and your wife and you. And and taking a step, but somebody's got to take the step. And he clearly, that's not on his radar. So I do think that falls on you. Today's episode is brought to you by Jenny Kane. We all know summer is here and my wardrobe could definitely use a refresh. Jenny Kane is a California brand through and through, and their summer staples make getting dressed easier than it's ever been before. Think minimalist and effortless, but totally refined. From flowy dresses and lightweight cotton cardigans to elevated versions of everyday basics. Not to mention the most incredible home essentials too. Jenny Kane is here to help you live your best summer yet.
In any season, but this one especially, their dresses are the it item. I'm obsessed with the Cove dress and road dress for summer occasions, and their new day dress is quickly becoming my go-to everyday uniform. Jenny Kane is known for their super luxe cashmere sweaters, but trust us, they do summer cotton better than anyone. The Chloe cardigan is the absolute best for beach days, and their cotton fisherman sweater is a bestseller every year. Plus, everything in their collection is designed so intentionally that you can style pieces together without a second thought, which is so great, especially if you're traveling. Jenny Kane believes in the art of simplicity. They focus on comfort, quality, and timeless design so you can curate a wardrobe that never goes out of style. And they also have a stunning collection of home essentials, timeless furniture pieces, cozy throws, perfectly curated decor, and the most incredible candles. You should definitely grab one and keep them in every room. And then best of all, they have an incredible rewards program where you can earn up to 10% back with every purchase, and joining is completely free.
Find your forever pieces at jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code ADVICE at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at jennykane.com, promo code ADVICE. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about.
I think something that has strengthened me and my brother's relationship has been every time we've been around each other. And 90% of the time, he's been the one to make the trip and come visit. So 99% of the time, it's been on him, which isn't fair.
Yeah.
But every time I do spend time with him, the first day is always like, oh yeah, I have a brother.
Yeah.
And
Like getting comfortable.
And I'm sure it's the same for him. He's always like, oh yeah, like those are my sisters. Like, and you have to kind of like reintroduce who you are now, since it's been a few years since you've seen him, you know? And I think there is always that little like, oh, I don't know you that well. But then like after a day, it's like we're back to, we're back together, and like things are good again. And not like they were bad, but like they're just, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. I don't know what's going on. I don't know anything about you. And then after a day, it's like, I'm his little sis again, and he's being all goofy. We're swimming in the pool and like playing tag, and like it's just like nothing ever changed.
Yeah.
But he did sacrifice and come out and see me.
Yeah.
And I do not think I've done a very good job at pulling my end of the deal and like calling and checking in on him, or like coming and visiting. He has done most of that. So what I would recommend, and this is unfortunate, but it sounds like your brother has a full life, kids and a wife. Maybe it's your turn to take a sacrifice and go visit and help out over there. Like, just, you know, it's hard to get away when you have kids. It's hard to get away when you have a whole family you're trying to raise and provide for. If you're a single little Pringle, it's a little easier to hop on a flight.
Yeah.
So like maybe this is the season that you know, come out to celebrate Christmas with them. It doesn't have to be on Christmas, but like come out a week early, give them some presents, get to know them, maybe watch the kids, let the parents go out on date night, come back home, maybe do it again in 6 months or something. Because if it's important to you, I feel like you would regret not doing it.
Yeah, and you can also, I mean, if you really feel like this is like a stranger to you, you don't have to stay with them. You can get a hotel down the street and then like pop in a few times and like get your bearings. You could start with just trying to make a few phone calls so you feel like a little more comfortable with like who he is. You can tell your mom to go with you, or you know what I mean? Like there's lots of things that you can do. But I think if you decide you want a relationship, relationships are hard and they require work. And I think if you look at it as a new relationship that you're trying to build and kind of take away the expectation of, well, this is ridiculous. He's my brother. Like, we should have been talking. We should have been like, I think the best thing to do is to just be like,
fresh slate.
It is what it is. This is where we're at. So I'm acknowledging where we're at, and I'm deciding to put steps in to hopefully like elevate it to something more of like what I want.
Yeah, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it?
Yeah, and try not to like bring resentment in or things like that. Like, you both probably have like maybe resented each other or just like fallen in a rhythm, whatever. But I think it's not crazy for you to start investing in him. But if you keep texting him and calling him and he's not responding, then I feel like you just sitting back and kind of dealing with that and getting closure with that is something you might have to do. But it's worth a try. Like, you obviously want it or you wouldn't be writing in, you know?
Yeah. And this is something that I feel like I've been learning since I got older is if there's something weighing on you, you're the one that has to do something about it.
Yeah.
Your brother can't read your mind, especially from, states away, especially if he has 2 kids and a wife. Like, his hands are full right now, and he's assuming that you're good.
Yeah.
That your nothing bad has happened. He thinks y'all are fine.
Yeah.
So if you have this weighing pressure on you that you don't know him, you want to get to know him, you want to get to know the kids and maybe even the wife and just the whole family, then do something about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was telling a friend of mine, I have 2 friends that are kind of like beefing a little bit. Like, there's just awkwardness between them. And I was talking to one of them, and, she broke down and she was just like really upset because she's reached out a few times and like not gotten a response. And so I told her, I was like, this is like the danger of what happens when you're in conflict with someone and you don't bridge that, because she has been for months like spiraling in her head, and every single thing that this other person does is a super personal attack and added to the list of things that like are making her upset. When in reality, that other friend like is not the best responder. Like, we've made jokes about it so many times. I text her all the time. Sometimes she responds, sometimes she doesn't, which is me too. Like, sometimes I respond, sometimes I don't. But the difference is I don't have beef with her. Yeah. So when she doesn't respond, I'm just like, meh. Like, that's her sometimes. Yeah. And if it really bugs me, then I'll reach out like 3 times and be like, if you don't respond to me, I will show up at your door, right?
Yeah.
But to this other person, because she's built up her own narrative, she's built up her grievances toward this person, everything feels so incredibly personal. So I think that that's the danger that happens in unaired drama.
Yeah.
So it's better to just voice it all out. Now, if you voice everything and he continues to not respond to you, then I feel like that is more of a reason to be upset. But I think as of now, you guys haven't had a clarifying conversation. So I feel like you just go in, all your cards out. This is what I want. This is what makes me sad. This is what I'd like to change, and give him a chance to meet you halfway.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's funny how I think we see friendships differently than we see like relationships, like romantic relationships. If this was like a wife talking about her husband, we would be like, well, he can't read your mind. You have to tell him. And the same thing goes with friendships.
Absolutely.
The same thing goes with work relationships. The same thing goes with you and your parents or you and your family members. If you are creating a narrative in your head and that person has no clue, then you need to give them a heads up before you snap at them, because they literally have no idea.
And be specific. Like, we always bring it up as an example, but like when me and Ash were living together, I felt myself getting like resentful. And so I finally sat with you, and I feel like I'm very good at giving very detailed, like, this is what I need to people. But like, it seems so minuscule, but I was like, it really bothers me you don't make eye contact with me in the morning. Like, I come down, I'm like, good morning, and like, you don't look up, right? And like to most people, and probably to you at the time, you're like, I don't look at you. But it was like, that was such an easy way for me to like not have this unaired thing with you, and for you to see like something tangible that would like make me feel better, because there was that tension. And I think that's valuable. I think it's valuable to be able to articulate exactly what you need. And that way that person has a chance to be like, oh, okay, I don't understand why you need that, but I love you. And if you're telling me you need that, I can try.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to be specific with what you need, or else you're sad all the time and people are oblivious that they're making you sad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's a really great example, because I apparently have done that my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Alicia would come down, say good morning. I'd be reading. I'd be like, morning.
Mm-hmm.
Very half-assed. I'm waking up. I'm sipping my coffee. I'm in my morning
And
zone.
you meant nothing by it.
No, yeah. And I'm sure I did that to my parents too. And I'm sure I did that to my friends that lived with me at my parents' house before. And like, I don't think I ever realized that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you are a person who needs a high five every morning and you don't know why, but you need a high five every morning, then you got to tell your roommates and your family members or your partner that you need a high five every morning. And even if it sounds silly, you got to be like, hey, like, this high five like means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And here are my reasons why. And I would really love if you could just, even if it's a half-assed high five, give me a high five in the morning, because it means a lot to me. And I think the people in your closest circle that love you the most will be like, listen, I don't know why you need this high five. I don't know why it's so important to you. I don't fully understand why, but here's your freaking high five. And I'm going to do it every morning because I love you.
Yeah.
And that is your responsibility to communicate that clearly, so that people can then love you the way you need to be loved.
Fully.
And I think this is a great example to show people that it's not just your romantic partner.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is stuff that's only talked about in romantic relationships, which is so funny, because you live with lots of people or in lots of types of situations.
Yeah.
So they need to know too.
No, yeah. And I think I was very aware of like how rare that is, that's how I've communicated with friendships.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw how like you were just like, what is happening? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like, for me, the only people that I'll tell them like what they did that made me upset are people that I genuinely care about, because I'm like, I don't want anything like under the surface of me like resenting or like building up against you. So like I'll just spew it out right away, which can be super overwhelming to people who don't like confrontation. But I feel like you eventually got to a place where you appreciated that, because you were like, oh, okay, I didn't understand why you were upset, but when you tell me specifically that makes me understand. And then you started doing that with me too, of like telling me, well, this is how I am. This is how I communicate. So then it became a two-way street of us understanding each other and coming up with our new rhythm. But imagine if we would have never done that. Like,
I mean, I've never had anyone in my life explain to me in detail what to do to make them feel loved.
Yeah.
Until you.
And
I'm
why
talking
is that
mom,
so
dad,
rare?
like everyone. No one has ever told me, hey, I need this.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, to be blunt, like at first I was like, this is really needy of you to like put this on me.
Yeah.
And I had to like reframe my thinking after having this conversation a few times to be like, oh, we're avoiding her getting her feelings hurt by talking about this and making a plan now.
Absolutely.
And once I did that, I was like, oh, this is a time saver.
Which,
and all of a sudden it was about an efficiency thing. Like, this is helping Taryne. This is helping me.
Yes.
This is helping us. And then we can just move forward, you know?
Which, like, I feel like we saw the opposite when TK moved in. I don't know if you remember, like, so long after she had moved out, we went on her podcast. And she, like, very, like, nonchalant throughout, like, oh, yeah, I used to always think you were mad at me. And, like, I've cried multiple times. And I remember looking across and seeing your face. And you were just, like, so defeated. And, like, I had no idea you felt like that. And I feel like that's what can happen in the opposite is, like, all this stuff happens that you're not aware of. And I feel like as a friend, you want to be a good friend. Like, I never thought, like, you didn't want to be a good friend to me. It was just finding, like, those things and speaking out and saying, like, what I needed. And I think that's because, like, I've had that done to me and I appreciated it so much. But it is so sad that that's not a more common thing of being like, hey, like, sometimes, like, I would love, even in a romantic partner, like, I would love if you just, like, come tackle me and like give me a hug out of the blue, or like when you're thinking about me or appreciating something, like verbalize it so I don't have to ask. Like there's just like so many things I think if we would just tell people and they would understand like, oh, okay, this is what they need. Like we're all different humans. We operate differently.
Yeah. And I think
why wouldn't I give you my manual if I want us to be successful?
Right. Exactly.
You know?
And I think something that you are really good at is it's not overwhelming when you say something. It's not like you're being a bad friend by not giving me my high five every single day and expecting them to know the significance of the high five. Like you're breaking down like, hey, like it might not seem like a big deal to you, but I need this and this is why I need this. And it just makes me feel like you are acknowledging me, you know, and like explaining that and breaking it down isn't saying that you're a bad friend or a bad life partner or whatever the situation is, but just being like, hey, like, I love how you said manual. This is my manual.
Yeah.
Feel free to give me yours. Feel free to read it.
Yeah.
And I give me my high five.
And yeah, it's like all about that approach too. Like I could have come at you in a way of being like, you're so like, you're this, you're rude. Like you make me feel like, but it was like a very calm conversation that was like, hey, I've been feeling this building up and I think it does affect me sometimes, like in the morning, this and this. That's how I've been feeling. And then opening up for a discussion. It wasn't like I just threw it at you and then was like attacking you. It was like a productive convo, you know? And I think that's like the difference is people wait until they've built up so much resentment that they spew it at the other person when the other person is like, I literally said good morning to you. Like
me.
But that literally you thought you hadn't thought anything else. Like I knew that. I'm like, I know that she's not like, oh my God, stop talking to me when I come down in the morning.
Right. Yeah.
But that was what I had started to build up and I was like, no, we're just gonna talk about it. So it's been such a cool thing where I've seen such a difference in our relationship and in all my relationships that I'll just like vocalize certain things. And I just like I can't encourage enough for people to just, we say it all the time, like tell people how you need to be loved and then watch what happens. Cause that's the even more valuable part of it is you watch someone either fully dismiss what you tell them or start to make an effort to like make you feel more loved.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that's the game changer.
Do
and
they
like
automatically shut you down or do they try to meet you where you're at and try to understand the situation?
Fully.
That does separate
love
the people, the good people.
The goodies from the baddies.
The goodies from the baddies.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kylie, for writing in, and I hope this helped you. And you're an 8 girl, so like dive into that. Like you should be able to like stand up for yourself, say whatever you need to say. Just make sure you do it in a gentle way because we know how you 8s can be. And good luck. Give us an update.
All right, let's get into my story. This one is titled Too Independent for My Own Good. Hey, Taryne and Ash. I have been wanting to write in for so long and finally have a solid topic that I would like advice on. First off, I have been listening to the pod for years and absolutely adore both of you. For personal context, I'd like to stay anonymous, but my name is please bleep that, Michaela. I just took the Enneagram test and I am evenly split between 3 and 9. Fascinating.
Interesting.
That's me and my sister. She continues, I am 23 years old and graduated college with a cell biology degree. I work in the medical device industry with dreams of going into genetics. Now to my quarter life crisis. I love how she worded that. I have been single my whole life. And when I say single, I mean all caps, single as a Pringle. I've never had a boyfriend and I've only kissed a handful of guys. So let's dive into it, shall we? I played ice hockey till my junior year in high school and I was seen as one of the guys. And it even became a joke if one of my if one of my teammates showed interest in me. Then I went off to college and fell hard for a couple of guys, but they never knew about it because one, I'm a scaredy cat and there was always someone else that they were interested in. I take pride in being independent and doing things on my own, but I'm starting to worry I took it a little too seriously. Whenever I go out with my friends, I watch how they interact with men, and I am flabbergasted at how easy they make it look. I simply cannot imagine myself making the first move or outright flirting with them unless I have a little bevy, she adds in parentheses. I also get the vast feeling of loneliness when I watch couples being cute and doing coupley things, and there I am just waiting for my man to take interest in me. I have always been invested in my career and looking for ways to improve, and I am not afraid to take risks in that regard. I am, however, downright terrified, it is in bold font, to shoot my shot with a guy. I guess it might be about rejection, but I think it's more the fear of the unknown. I don't even know what comes after the talking stage because I've never made it there. I know it's my own insecurities from the past, but I can't even picture myself in a relationship because it feels like I was never good enough or the infamous, quote, second best. I guess I need advice on how to take more risks and go after the guys I want without worrying what others will think or letting my own insecurities win. Thank you so much for taking the time to read my email. I love tuning in every Monday and can't wait for the next merch drop and the October series. It's happening.
Same.
People are talking about it. See below for some pics of me and my friends and me and my dog Hagrid, which she has the perfect dog. She has the perfect dog for the name
I don't
Hagrid.
think I've ever heard of that.
Here's her and her friends. She's in the middle. That's her again with her friend. And then her and Hagrid.
Oh, buddy.
He's such a cute little big floppy guy. Oh, love him. I think we all have things that we excel at.
Yes.
And we all have things that we don't excel at.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with either of those.
Yes.
Sometimes we excel at work. Sometimes we excel at social things. Like I have so many friends that are so outgoing that can handle every party.
Yes.
With so much grace through the life of the party. It's so much fun. I look at that and I get exhausted.
Yeah.
I have so many friends that are so good at networking.
Yeah.
They can just talk their little off and make connections and take people's numbers and like brilliantly work around an entire room full of people. And I'll just be sitting there going, how did you do that?
Like I just was like, at least say hi to someone when I walked
like
in.
I'm over here going, okay, I think I know them. I literally, I'll walk into a room and see. This happened to me recently. I went to an event. I knew so many people. Their names immediately left.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, damn.
Yep.
Here I am scurrying off to the bathroom to find your Instagram to remember your name because I should know your name because I'm so bad at stuff like that. But I'm a really good listener.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that about myself. And I'm really good with one-on-one situations. I just have a hard time with crowds. So I don't think you need to be hard on yourself for being bad at something. Just because you're not like the best at shooting your shot or dating doesn't mean that you can't learn. It just means you need to put yourself in a situation to then be good at it. Like if I'm going to go to a party where I know I need to network, guess which friends I'm bringing with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
that
not a
it out.
selfish thing.
No.
That's a smart thing. I'm going to bring people that I know can walk in there and network their ass off because that's also in my best interest.
Yeah.
So if I am invited to a party that I know there's going to be a networking circle, I'm going to bring my networking girlies.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell them, hey, since
me.
you're my plus,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that you include me in all of your conversations and help me like make connections as well. You can do the exact same thing with dating. If you're going to go into a bar with your girlfriends, I would be like, hey, y'all know I haven't had a boyfriend. Let's find me one tonight, ladies. Like I would make it fun, and I wouldn't hold yourself back, but I would arm yourself with girls that are good at being flirty and like introducing you to strange guys.
Mm-hmm.
Not strange guys. I worded that weird, but stranger guys that you don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's scary about it is you don't know them that well. It's not someone you were in class with or maybe work with that you've gotten to know a little bit. They're literally strangers. So arm yourself with girls that are good at that, or guys, doesn't matter. Just wing people that can make the introduction, say a couple fun things or whatever, and then dip out so you can take over. Yeah. Like
absolutely
the perfect wing person. I think that's all you need. And maybe articulate that to your friends and be like, hey, I want to go out tonight. Here's my intentions. Help me get there. Like, I just want to like walk away with a number. That's my goal. That's my goal, and they'll help you.
Yeah, it's funny. Me and your sister actually, because I called her when I was in Hawaii because I was sitting in the jacuzzi and this guy, I like look up and this guy's walking across like the bridge that was by the pool. And all I did was go, hello. And Vanessa, who's my sister-in-law, she was sitting next to me and she looks over and she's like, Taryne, that is like literally you written all over him. And I was like, I know. So this guy like walks up and I'm just like drooling, right? But then we had this thing where like he walked right up to a girl that had a baby and like kissed the baby, and then he went and like sat down. So at first I was like, he's like whatever. But I didn't see a ring. And so then later I was like walking by from the beach. I walked by the bar and he was sitting by himself at the bar. And then so I'm like telling my sister-in-law, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's like sitting there by himself. And I was like, oh, like I wish I could just go walk up and like sit by him.
Yeah.
And she looks at me, and my sister-in-law has such a good way of like bluntly saying stuff. Like the other day I was freaking out about a health thing, and she looked at me and she's like, Taryne, if you're meant to die from this, you will. If you're not, you won't.
Yeah.
Like stop trying to control stuff that's out of your control.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so she like looks at me and she goes, what if that is your future husband? Like, you're really just going to go back in the hotel room with us when like, why wouldn't you step out? And I was just like, dang. So anyways, so I call Alicia and we start talking on the way. Because I decide to go back down. Sorry guys, I couldn't find him. So again, another soulmate just out there in the world. But we started talking because Alicia and me like both have struggled with that. Like we know who we are, but then when it comes to like dating, we're just like, you know?
Yeah.
And through our conversations, I just like had this breakthrough where I'm like, I've seen so much crazy things happen in this world and to people I know and love where like life is gone like that. Like that. And when you look back at your life, there are so many things that I'm like, I can't believe because I was scared I didn't like put myself out or I didn't like, now I'll never know if I could have made it as this. If I would have like auditioned for that, what I could have done. And I'm the one robbing myself at the end of the day. So one of the things that's helped me is just that mentality of like, I don't even know, like we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So like, wouldn't I rather leave going, oh, well, that was embarrassing, but like at least I shot.
At least I know.
I shot my shot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's a closed door.
Exactly.
But at least it's not a what could have happened door.
Exactly. And then it was funny because I ended up saying something to her and it's become like a new catchphrase for us.
Yeah.
But I was like hyping her up too because we were like, we both need to just hype each other up. And I texted her the other day and I was like, I want stories, not regrets.
Yeah.
And that has been like spinning in my head. Like, if I go to a party and I see this cute guy that I've always had a crush on, but I'm too scared, so I sit in the corner and the whole night I'm just like
hoping
mad at myself that I'm not going up to him and I'm sad because all these other girls are talking to him and I leave and the next day I wake up with regrets because I'm like, why couldn't I just talk to him? And then I'm pounding on myself versus like waking up the next day and being like, oh my gosh, like I went up to him, I totally started talking to him and he literally like mid-conversation just walked away from me and it was so embarrassing, but like now I know, like closed chapter.
At least we'd have content for the podcast.
I would rather have a story and either a closure or an encouragement.
Exactly.
Than nothing. And I've learned so much over like watching all of the guys, because it's my curse, that have said, oh, I used to have the biggest crush on you when I had a crush on them too, that I'm like, it would have taken one sentence.
Yeah.
Like one sentence of me being like, hey, I kind of dig you. Like, I don't know if you dig me too. If you don't, cool. Like, we could just be friends.
Yeah.
But like, I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah.
And
or even
my
just
whole life could have been different.
Eye contact and a smile. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't have to. I feel like for me, because I this is not secluding me in any way. I feel like I'm also like this. I have a hard time like going up and talking to people if I'm like trying to like come on to someone and I'm just like, hey, like I think you're hot. I feel like you think I'm hot. Like, let's be hot together.
Yeah.
I can't talk like that. I'm not good at stuff like that. I'm good at smizing.
Yeah.
That's my secret weapon. So like, if that's what I'm good at, Ashley, stop trying to be this sexy finks in the corner that walks up and gets a guy. That's not you.
It's not you. Yeah.
I'm actually kind of quirky and like I get a little awkward in the beginning and I make it stupid. I don't know how to talk in front of cute guys. So like, let me just smize.
Yeah.
And let me try to get him to come to me, but like, let me use my skills instead of trying to play someone I'm not, you know?
Fully.
And I think you just need to figure out which one is you're most comfortable with. If it's smizing from across the room, start practicing.
Yep.
Start practicing. He doesn't have to be your person yet, but let's just see if you can get a guy to come over and talk to you.
Yeah.
You're young. You're with your girlfriend. You're going out. Like, that's when you're supposed to be trying out, like, your moves, you know?
Yeah. And the worst thing that happens is the person's not interested.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, but there are so many guys that I'm not interested in. And not one thing specific, but I'm just like, nah, they're not my type.
Yeah.
Nothing personal. I don't hate them. I don't think they're disgusting. I'm just like, you're not my type.
Yep.
So why am I taking it so personal?
Yeah. And I've said this on the podcast before, like, dating, whether it's serious or not, it's almost like a business transaction. Like, if you click, you click. You can't always explain it, but you click and it's going good. So we're going to go with it, you know? And if it doesn't click, it's not on him. It's not on you or whatever the situation is. It's nothing personal. It just didn't click.
Yep.
It just didn't click. So you say, okay, next.
And
Thank you.
the guys that still to this day haunt me of what if are the ones that I just never made any type of move. So I will forever wonder what could have been. And I've played out all of the fantasies of how my life could have been if I would have been with them versus the ones, the ones that I never think about, the ones that shot me down.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, ouch.
Because it was such an obvious closed door.
And then either you cry about it or you laugh about it with your friends and then you move on.com. But instead, all these other guys are the ones that I just loved from afar and was too scared to say anything to. And those are the ones you build those fantasies that haunt you forever.
Yeah.
So do what you got to do. Step out there. Know who you are. It's all about self-confidence and then also realizing life is way too short and waking up the next day, stories, not regrets.
Yes. And also, you're 23 years old. You just graduated college. You did all the hard work and focused on work and school for that season.
Have fun.
Maybe this is the you dating season. You know, you did all the hard stuff and now you can kind of focus on like going out and kind of relaxing a little bit. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with taking a little break from work and focusing on that.
I fully
I'm so excited for this fun, taking risks, shooting your shot chapter in your life. Because I think you're gonna grow in a whole new kind of confidence, and that also will ricochet into your work life also. So you're about to just explode, and I'm so excited for you.
Yep. Once you catch that confidence too, it's so contagious.
Yeah.
Like you walk into every room like, oh, who's lucky enough to meet me? You know what I mean?
It's like when you put on like that outfit that just makes you feel a certain type of way.
Yep.
And then you're like, I wish I could wear this at work.
And it's so funny because it shows, like, I wore an outfit the other day. I thought I was the hottest thing ever. And I carried myself like I was the hottest thing ever.
Yeah.
The next day, someone sent me a picture. I was not the hottest thing ever. That outfit was all in my head. But I don't regret it. Like, no. I carried myself. I had so many great conversations. I felt amazing about myself. And it just shows how much, like, confidence is inner and not outer.
1,000%.
And I just think, like, anytime I, like, over-focus on, like, staring at myself in the mirror, I'm like, girl, you need to just go. Like, go live life. Stop being obsessed in this, like, interaction you're having with yourself. Because it's all about what's on the inside and what you're telling yourself, your self-narrative. So that's why self-talk is so important. Yeah. But you need to just step into it. And I'm trying to, too. That's my, like, chapter I'm in right now, too. So.
And you're only 23. You have
I'm not.
So much time.
I'm running out of time.
You are not running out of time.
If I can do it, you can do it.
You are not running out of time.
True.
I had an uncle get married or he got remarried at 70-something.
Okay, well, my eggs will be mummified by then. So
we're not talking about eggs. We're talking about dating.
Oh, yeah.
And you can find love at any age.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So we're going to end with a dad joke. Ashley.
Yes.
I don't know why I called your name. You can just listen. After a cheese factory blasted, what was all that was left? This is funny.
Cheese whiz.
Cheese whiz.
Queso. Nachos.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now we're just saying words again? Okay. Debris was everywhere.
Ah,
That's a good
damn
one.
it. That was so good.
Cheese humor. Wow.
Threw your phone at yourself.
Sorry.
Guys, if you made it to the dad joke, you already know we love you the mostest. Be sure to send in all of your stories,
Yes,
your funny ones, your
please.
serious ones that you want advice on, and or your October series for early possible
Yeah.
being chosen for the series.
Shoot your shot.
Shoot your shots. That's our mantra this week.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys in the next episode. That'll be coming soon.
Yes. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.